I go to the DS.
I think it's a 3-game series.
I think so too, but I still think it's like if Kansas City can take one from Baltimore and then get back to Kansas City, we all know how.
There's no going back.
Yeah, you like
no
look
going
at
back. All 3 are home.
Yeah. Oh, is
all
it?
All 3 are in
one
one
that's
place.
right. That is right. They're all that one place. That's right. I still think you're going to get shocked. I just think so.
It's not going to be a shock.
Well, that's what I mean. But
it's not going to be a shock.
No, I get what you're saying.
Like, I will not be
100%
shocked
be a
at all if they
shock.
lose. Like, it will not shock me. Like,
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like I think like the stadium's going to go quiet type of a thing.
Yeah, like last year. I'll tell you a quick story. Last year, the Texas Rangers come to town, and they're the hottest team in baseball.
They were on fire.
They were up 9-2 in the 3rd inning. I mean, it was like shell shock. We spent $250 for the ticket, and we're like, the game's over in the 3rd inning.
Yeah,
like, that's what we experienced. I'm like, but that was the hottest team.
100%.
Look, I don't care. Like any picks we make here, the hottest team
is going to
in October is going to win it all. I don't care if you're look at Texas; they were a wild card last year. Look at Arizona. Look at Arizona; they barely got in. They were a wild card as well.
Yep.
So none of these division winners were in the World Series last 100%. Year.
And most of them weren't even. I mean, they were only in the next. Like the Phillies weren't. What did they? They didn't win their division, did they? They lost to Atlanta, and then Houston was the only division winner in the CS.
Yeah.
So there's only 3 wild card teams out. So you're completely right.
Crazy.
You never know.
Baseball is the sport where it's like. If you're the hot,
gotta ride the hot hand.
You're gonna be scorching hot going forward. It's a momentum game. That's just 100%. All it is. 100%.
That's very fair. Very fair.
And that's why I said that I think the winner of the Tigers and Astros can make a run.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. All right. So next round, with Houston and Cleveland. Kellen, what do you got going on?
I really want. I really want to say Cleveland. I'm picking Houston.
Yep.
I think there's 2 things. Phil, you touched on it a little bit earlier this weekend when you've been here. I don't want a break. I don't want to stop playing baseball. I want my team just to keep going. The Astros are taking that break, but I think it's going to be better for them because with that break, supposedly from Joe, is it Espada?
Houston doesn't get a break. Houston don't get a break. They're playing.
Oh yeah, sorry, they're playing. But when they get to that level, they're supposed to have Alvarez back. Alvarez is they looked at his ankle. It said everything's good. He is supposed to be hitting. I think it was technically yesterday. I don't know how that was reported or how that went. He's supposed to be back. Kyle Tucker's back. Obviously, he was an MVP candidate at the beginning of the year. Altuve's having basically an MVP type caliber year, batting 300 plus, super good. Their pitching is starting to kind of turn it around. I think Cleveland taking that break is what I meant to say, and I was flipping the teams, is going to hurt them. I really want Jose Ramirez to win. I think he's, again, the most underrated baseball player in baseball right now. Like people just, you think, who's your best third baseman? No one thinks about him right off, and then it's like, oh, yeah.
It should be.
I just think that team...
Also, Stephen Vogt has done a very good job.
Yeah, I just think that...
I mean, they were already pretty good last year, but he's definitely solidified that team, and they've done well.
They
won their division, so...
Kind of like what Nick said, I think both of the Tigers and Houston, I think that winner is just going to roll.
Yeah.
So I have Houston, unfortunately.
I do agree. I do have Houston moving on. Same. I mean, there's
I think
really
it's
not
also
much else to be said.
There's just experience, too.
Yeah, they're just good. I mean, honestly, they have so much there. You didn't see it earlier, but they're a good team. They're meant to play in October.
Yeah,
that's just
100%.
How it is.
And that's all they did this year. Literally, as Houston was like banged up all year, just kind of chipped away in the division, just slowly got back into it. And once they're here,
this is what they're built for.
That's just what they're gonna do.
So. All right, Phil, who do you got?
I got Houston. I think they're going to be
boring, but yes.
I hate to say it. But that's just the way it is. But I got Houston.
And then Nick, you said either the Tigers or Astros, just kind of depending, but most likely Astros.
Yeah. So I truthfully, if you're gun to my head, filling out my bracket, it's the Astros and it's the
you just
Guardians
can't bet against them.
No, that's the problem.
And I don't know if it's Yankee brain or what. And I mean, I think you guys hit on every point. Kellen, you kind of said it. I mean, they were off to the worst first half they have ever been off to. And there was not one time anyone wrote them off.
Yeah, literally. Everyone's like, they're going to get there.
It doesn't matter.
Yep.
If they make it in, they're going to be looked at the same way. And guess what? They made it in and they're looked at the same way.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know how many memes we all saw, but guess what? They still have them going on.
Yeah.
And they're passing the Guardians, and they're going to go ahead and go to the
It
NLCS
sucks.
again.
I don't see it happening any other way.
I would love to see the Guardians or the Tigers knock them out.
100%. I think the whole world, besides Houston, would like to see them lose by 1,000,000 runs. I don't think anyone. It was funny for Nick. Nick's a big Yankee fan. Obviously, the Yankees have that reputation of being like the hated team in baseball. I think for the past decade, because of obviously the cheating scandal and everything like that. But I genuinely think that the Astros have taken that over as people are just so like the Yankees. In all honesty, Nick could be honest with you. The Yankees haven't been that good for the past how long? So it's like
they've been good, but not good enough to win.
Yeah, they're not irrelevant, but they're just not. Yeah. They're not the Yankees where it's like
question.
Huh?
On my next turn,
sure.
To the next
round so I think the Astros was taking over that team where everyone would just be like, come on, Detroit, please. Yeah. Come on, Cleveland, please. Come on, even the Yankees. Come on, New York, please. I'll let the Yankees win a World Series, like please, anyone but. But
all right, next series, Royals and Yankees.
They have Baltimore. Phil and Nick have Baltimore and the Yankees.
So we'll go real quick. Okay. I have Kansas City and the Yankees. I'm excited for the Royals, but this is where I go back to what Nick and Phil said. It's early. They're not quite there yet. I think they move on. I think it's going to be a fun team, but I don't think they have quite enough to get past the juggernaut that is the Yankees, personally. I think the Yankees have Luis Gil and they have Garrett Cole. I think Garrett Cole is going to find a second gear. I don't think he's been great this year, but you've seen him in the postseason. You've seen him what he's done before. He's going to be fine. He'll figure it out. That offense is insane. Judge and Soto, I mean, you have so many other guys. I think Rizzo is hurt now.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with his back.
His back.
He's hurt again.
Yeah, so Torres could turn it on.
Rizzo's center fielder, and then he got hit in the hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was his hand. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, they just have so many weapons.
Or fractured fingers. Yeah.
And for me, I always forget about Stanton. I mean, Stanton, you never know. Like the guy's an MVP. He could flip a switch.
3 home runs in one game, and you wouldn't be shocked.
I in this situation, I think the Yankees have the advantage, so I have them moving on. But that's kind of what I'd have to say about that DS series. How about you, Kellen?
I have the same thing with a little bit, I guess, of a different idea. Sure. I agree with you. I think they are still young. I do think that they have like again, Salvador Perez, again, underrated. He's one of the best catchers ever. He is a leader. He is that clubhouse. He is that team for the past 10 years. I just think their pitching's not good enough. Again, Seth Lugo, you can name. Yeah,
you'll see some holes in.
They've been fine, but I think again, especially being the majority of these games in New York, there's the memes of the short field. It's a home run ballpark type of thing. It's a hitter's park. You obviously have a lot of power in that lineup. I don't think Kansas. I mean, if Kansas City is able to sneak like game one, then yeah, I'm like, okay, it's interesting. But I still think the Yankees get through. I have the Yankees and Astros in this.
All right, Nick. I know you have the Orioles moving on. But what do you think about this series?
Well, it's going to be an interesting one. I do have to say I'm really excited for it. I do have Orioles, Yankees. It's going to be a bloodbath. I really do. It's. I wish it was a 7-game set. I hate that the DS is only a 5.
Yeah. So dumb.
I think that will be huge. I think I do have my Yankees beating the Orioles.
Sure.
Just because I'm come on. I think it's our year. Yeah. If it's not this year, if we don't make a run this year, I mean, I've been saying this for 15 years. If we don't make a run,
welcome to the club, baby. Go Mariners.
At this point, we're in big trouble.
Yeah.
And I just think we've got the guys. I'm very concerned, like you guys were actually just saying. Rizzo did get hit in the hand. I think he fractured or injured his pinky and his ring finger or something. So, and you also alluded to the week off when we were talking about the Guardians.
Yep.
I am extremely, extremely, extremely concerned about my Yankees having a week off. If the Orioles get hot in those 2 or 3 games and it takes Judge or Soto 1 or 2 games to get back on their feet, which we've seen them do all year, it might be too late. And it could flip. We also lost Nestor. Nestor's
that's huge.
His arm is barking. And Stroman's having to step up. And I don't know if we get Nestor back at all. If we do, he's not coming back until, the CS of the series. And I'm extremely concerned about the pitching side of it as well.
For sure.
But I think the O's bullpen is not it. I think their offense is very good. Don't get me wrong, but our offense matches up with them pound for pound. And I think our starting staff matches up with them pound for pound. I think our bullpen might have a slight edge, as we saw in the last 2 weeks of the season, and we separated from them, and they could not keep up with us in the wild card.
All right, Phil, you got a rebuttal?
And to help you out really quick, before you get the rebuttal, Phil, Nestor is on the 15-day DL, so it sounds like he
could come back.
It'd be a long stretch.
That's what I'm saying. He could, but I don't know.
Rizzo, to help you out, Rizzo has a fracture in his 4th and 5th finger, so it's 2 fingers, not just one, which
tough.
doesn't help obviously anymore. He said there is hope for the ALDS, but not likely.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And at that point, I would like to see Ben Rice get in there and get some young guys in there, or Oswaldo even at that point. Like,
Yeah,
let's go. Move on.
So
Billy, go ahead.
I would say the Orioles are hot since they got their lineup back. They've won 6 out of 7. If you look at the past 2 years, the Orioles are 17-9 against the Yankees.
That is true.
We have had your number the last couple of years. Of course, the bullpen is my concern always.
Has to be.
It's going to be. I would pretend to lean to the Yankees on this one only because they know how to play in this stadium, and it's a short porch. It's the shortest porch in baseball. Judge only has to pop it up, and it's going to go out of the park.
Literally, that one home run last week was so high.
Judge would have.
May I say, your team is going to benefit from that short porch.
100%.
Yeah, that's fair.
Home
That's
game
very
more
fair.
than we are. You have lefties that would look beautiful in pinstripes.
No, they wouldn't.
And
They literally would never.
It's not going to make a difference in the series.
That's fair.
But I do understand it completely. Go ahead.
I would want to look up the Statcast to see we're in the Statcast era.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee you that Judge would probably have 40 to 45 home runs in the wall Baltimore, and if he played in Camden Yards, he would not have 58 home runs. I promise you that.
That's fair.
Soto, we got a short porch too in right field.
I wouldn't really. Stinks.
Yeah, I really wouldn't. Yeah. It's got that New York manure when it comes in town. So, but yeah, man, I'm saying we got your number as far as we've proven we can beat you in the regular season. I don't know what the postseason is going to look like, but it's really going to come down to our bullpen. And
I agree.
If the bullpen can be decent, not even good, just decent.
Yeah,
I think we could beat you guys. It's going to be a great series, but it's going to go at least 4 games guaranteed.
Who's your pick, though?
Who do you have?
Oh, it's tough, man. It really is. I mean, I want the Orioles to win, obviously, but I think the Yankees are going to prevail. But honestly, if you ask me 5 minutes from now, I probably could change my answer.
That's very fair.
I really could. And I like the point that Nick made. He said that they're going to sit around for a week, just like we did last year, and we saw how we got
killed you.
We got our butts whooped last year because we sat around and just had batting practice and infield practice for a week. We never really had a game.
That's fair.
I think that's going to be the telltale because you guys will be sit for 6 days. We meet you guys. So, yeah, we'll see. It's going to be great. I really want it just so we can talk back and forth about it. I think it's going to be.
Well, and I think the other interesting thing, too, to even possibly maybe lean towards the Yankees a little bit more is managers.
Yeah.
I mean, Aaron Boone's obviously been there, done it. I don't know how many rings he has, but I can only imagine he's got 1 or 2 from playing with the Yankees for a little bit. But I don't know if he, or even with the Reds, I don't know if he has a ring, but he definitely embodies that kind of manageristic playoff manager, I think, more than Brandon Hyde. But I think Brandon Hyde, obviously, like you said, went through last year, went through the low of lows. He's not going to probably allow that to happen again. So it'll be interesting to see, but I don't know if
Brandon Hyde had 3 losing seasons that were more than 100 losses.
Terrible.
Nice.
He turned it around, and
I agree.
In the last 3 years, he has a winning record. He has a ring himself. He was one of the bench coaches for the Chicago Cubs in the 2016 World Series.
I did not know that.
So you have that experience of him doing it. I mean, not as the manager, but as a coach.
Sure.
So I tend to lean towards success, and anybody that can turn a team around like he did. It reminds me of the Houston Astros when they lost 110 games, 3 years in a row, and they come back and then
they did move leagues and got 500 picks. So other than that,
but you do make a good point, Phil.
Yeah.
I mean, they turned it around.
I do agree with what you're saying, but just not the Astros because I hate them.
I have questioned as a fan, and you got to be objective when you do stuff like this.
Sure.
I really believe that Brandon Hyde has made some decisions with his pitching changes in the games that I do not agree with. He's going to a certain guy in the bullpen that I just don't think is good for this moment.
Welcome to the club.
He has guys that will pitch when they're losing, and he has guys that will pitch when they're winning.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I think you should use your entire bullpen. So I like Brandon Hyde. I think he's a good person. I think he's a good manager, but I do question some of the moves he makes.
Sure.
On a daily basis. So
that's fair. Nick, did you have something? I heard you trying to chime in.
I was just saying about like World Series rings. Aaron Boone does not have a World Series ring.
Really?
It's just Yankees culture. Correct. They lost. He was in a World Series. He was in the World Series that they lost to the Marlins in 2003.
I
traded for him.
They ran into a buzzsaw.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I know he had a big home run in the World Series.
it was against the Red Sox, Game 7.
Oh, Game 7 in the Red Sox.
ALCS, he walked
and
off.
I'm blanking on the third baseman who got hurt, but that was the year we traded for Boone. He made that hit to send us to the World Series. And so
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for listening to the Kind of Athletic podcast. Please like and subscribe to all our social media platforms, and make sure to come back to hear more from the Kind of Athletic podcast.